Greetings, everyone. Today we're going to explore solving exponential equations. So we've worked on converting between exponential and logs, but now why did we learn that conversion? So we can solve equations. You'll definitely need a calculator. Again, your phone calculator is not going to be helpful, so make sure you have a scientific or graphing or an app or a website. First, in our notes, let's compare the two types of exponential equations that we've encountered. The first type is when we have exponents on both sides. Often with this, we can use the common base. We worked on this in the previous lesson, so this is a review. If I have 2 to the x, I can get a base of 2 turn into 32. So in this case, I would have to do 2 to the 5th would get me to 32, but then I still have that x minus 1. Once we have that common base, it's kind of like we just temporarily ignore those bases and we say x equals 5x minus 5, which would leave me with negative 4x equals negative 5, which would leave me with 5/4. We can have negative answers, fraction answers, whole number answers, depends on what type of equation you have. All right, now let's take a look. What if I only have an exponent on one side? I can still try for common base. That's still an option. So if I take a look, can I get 2 to the something to equal 100? In this case, I can't. There's nothing that works. So in this case, I have to convert first. So if I convert to logs, the base becomes the base. The exponent becomes the answer. Therefore, what's remaining becomes your main value. Now, in a previous lesson, we explored how to solve that. We can type that in your calculator. Some of your calculators you can type in a base of 2. Others need to do the change of base, which means to type it in your calculator, you're going to type in log 100 divided by log of 2. Make sure you're careful with those parentheses when you are dividing if you choose to write it all in at the same time. Now today I'm going to ask you to round. So x is approximately, and we're going to go to the nearest 10,000th. So 6.6439. I round that fourth one up to a 9 because the fifth decimal is a 5. So we explored all of these options before. The difference is our equations are just going to have a few extra steps. All right, let's take a look at this example. Make sure that you kick everything unnecessary to the other side. So my equation I'm going to start with is actually 2 to the x equals 7. There is no common base that can get me from 2 to 7. So I'm going to convert. The base becomes the base. The exponent becomes the answer. What's remaining becomes my main value. To type this into my calculator, I'm going to type in log of 7 divided by log of 2. Be careful with your parentheses. Depends on your calculator. I'm going to have you round to the nearest 10,000th, so it's approximately, use that symbol, 2.80774. Excuse me. Let's take a look at this example. Again, kick any extra values to the other side by using your order of operations. So I'm going to subtract that 5 over. No common base of 10 can get me to that 55, so I'm going to convert instead. Base becomes base. Exponent becomes answer. What's remaining becomes your main value. I'm going to do change of base so I can plug it into my calculator. So I'm going to end up rounding. So again, make sure that you use those parentheses correctly. I can't stress that enough. I'd hate for you to miss out on a problem because you can't type it in correctly. So be very careful. In this case, we end up with approximately 1.740, and you'd round that up to a 4 again on the end. Okay, here we have a couple of moves we have to take care of first. I had to subtract that 1 over. And then I have to divide by 4. Anything out front of my base needs to be divided over. So I actually have 3 to the 2x equals 1. I have two options here. Here I could use common bases. Because that common base of 3 sticks out, I could have 3 to the 2x equals 3 to the 0 would get me to a value of 1. Therefore, 2x equals 0, x equals 0. The option from today's is to convert first. Base becomes base, exponent becomes answer, what's remaining becomes your main value. If I type in log of 1 over log of 3, I actually end up with 0. If I have 0 equal to 2x, I still end up with x equals 0. All right, we got one number we got to kick over to the other side there first. So I actually have 3 to the x minus 2 equals 84. No base of 3 will get me to 84, so I'm going to convert right away. Now notice I have an expression in my answer. So take care of log of 84 over log of 3 first, and leave that in your calculator. I say that because if you use a rounded answer in your work, then your answer is not going to be as accurate. So when I divide these, I'm going to write it down, but I get approximately 4.0331, and that's still equal to x minus 2. So keep that crazy decimal in your calculator and just do plus 2 to move that 2 over. Then my x value is approximately 6.0331. Now you'll notice in this case it didn't really change my decimal, but we are going to encounter situations where we need to keep it in our calculator no matter what. For example here, let's look at one more example. I'm going to subtract that 7 over first. Notice that that 3 is out front. So in that case, I need to divide both sides by 3 to get rid of that. So 26 over 3 is irrational. I'm going to leave it as 26 thirds. Okay, that's just going to make it easier to type in my calculator, or you could type it in and use it as an answer using your answer key. So in this case, I'm going to convert log of 2 of 26 thirds equals 5x minus 5. So my calculator, here's how I'm going to type this in. I'm going to type in log of 26 thirds. I'm going to divide by log of 2. I'm going to press the equal sign. Now leave that in your calculator. Don't clear it. You want to use that irrational answer to continue. Because whatever that answer is, I'm now going to add 5 equals. Take that answer and you're going to divide by 5 equals. So we should end up with x is approximately 1.6231. So notice how I kept reusing what was already in my calculator. So please be very careful with these types of problems. All right, make sure you check Google Classroom for what your assignment is. I will have grades updated soon. Keep up to date and keep an eye out for when our next quiz is. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you next time.